Somebody big just died. William Friedkin, the visionary director of the French Connection and The Exorcist, is dead at 87 years old. And here to help eulogize him is the one and only Mike North. Mike, how you doing, my friend?
Well, first of all, Joe, I want to welcome you to the family. Of course,
Mike,
you've
we
always
lost
been a
your.
member of the Barroom family. And I got to tell you something. Aldo Gandia had surgery. And in fact, if you saw the beginning of this show, you saw um, Jim Brown, which we did, Sinead O'Connor, Pee Wee Herman. And we were on hiatus, if you will, because of health reasons. Aldo's feeling great, but the workload is becoming because of Raging Mouth, which we're doing. We're going to add another episode. It's become very popular. The Barroom is getting into full gear, which you're a big part of.
Definitely.
With the Chicago Bears. Everybody hoping a big thing with that. We hope somebody big just died won't be them by November.
Yeah, hopefully not.
They're still in it. And so I said to Aldo, I said, you know what? I said, I want to keep it in the family. There's other people that have asked if they could be involved. And I said, I want to keep it within the Barroom. Like he says, well, who do you want? I says, I don't know how I came up with your name, Joe. I just said Joe Mandel, man. And he said, perfect. And it's great to have you. I know you've done a lot of research on this subject because it was something. I'll say this about Aldo. He loves this project. He really does.
He sure does.
He worked with you on it. And he may be back, maybe not. But right now, you are the host along with me. We want to welcome you. And so the first thing I want to do is introduce you to Cumberland Chapels in the right way while your heart is beating. There it is. 8300 West Lawrence Avenue in Norwich, Illinois. Great sponsor. Love this project that we've been doing. We've already done a number of people. It has been a year where it's like a plumber. You always need a plumber. You always need a good funeral home. And it's Cumberland Chapels, 8300 West Lawrence Avenue. Plenty of space, plenty of parking for you there. And the other place, one of the best restaurants, not only in Park Ridge, but in the Illinois, Chicago area, you name it.
Great food.
Pennyville Station, 112 Main Street, Park Ridge. Tony Antonacci is your proprietor. Tino Antonacci is your man that's just walking around like the ambassador that he's always been. A great restaurateur. And there is your Pennyville Station.com at the bottom, and check it out, folks. So glad to be back. And the person that we're doing is a guy that I first got introduced to when I went to see The Exorcist. And at that time, there was no Wikipedia, nothing like that. You did not know. And look at Enter the Dragon, the great Bruce Lee movie. There he is. Rogers Park guy. One of the scariest movies I've ever seen.
Oh, I'm with you, Mike.
Yeah. I mean, I've only seen it once. The one time I saw it was enough. I liked it. Great film. Proud of Mr. Friedkin. And he's a Senn High School guy. And I didn't know that. And
local boy.
Local guy, Joe. And so I get the job at the Score. I read about, French Connection. Live and Die in L.A. Other movies that we'll name down the line. He died at 87 years of age. There he is with Roy Scheider and the great Gene Hackman.
What a movie.
The kid, great movie. He was one of the new breed of directors in the 70s, whatever that means, because the directors of the 30s, 40s, 50s, John Ford, I mean, those guys were great. So I didn't know he was from Chicago until I met my friend Ed Kelly, who was superintendent of the Chicago Park District, and we were talking movies one day, and he says, well, I coached them at Greenbrier Park. I coached a bunch of people. He goes, I coached Gene Siskel there. It was a heavily Jewish area. And Harold, he just coached a lot of people. Mandel, Jim McMahon's agent, great guy. Coached these guys. So he tells me he's from Chicago and he went to Sun. I go, you got to be kidding me. I said, I knew that Clayton Moore, the Lone Ranger, went to Sun. I knew Harold Ramis from Stripes went to Sun.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but I didn't know William Friedkin went to Sun. So it's a loss for the Chicago community. But what was great is I'm reading his bio, Joe, and I'm sure as you went through it,
Yeah.
he played basketball for Sun High School. That's my
Was thinking about going professional, I believe.
Yes, he was thinking
Yeah.
of going professional. He cited Citizen Kane as his main deal. He was married 4 times, but he married Sherry Lansing, who became president of 20th Century Fox. So that's
the long-lasting marriage there, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you have trouble getting a budget. You know what I mean? For a
Probably
movie.
not.
Go see the boss. I did. I saw her this morning when I got up. So it says here, education, Sun High School.
Mhm.
Years active 1962 to 2023. His movies, from the French Connection, which was involving Francis Ford Coppola too. So he was in some heavy company, but he hit a slump too in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s. The sorts were some movies just didn't make it out. You know,
after French Connection and The Exorcist, he kind of, like you said, he went through it with some. I don't want to say they were bombs, but they weren't huge successes.
Right. They want to see when you're that kind of director. They want to see blockbusters. He also did a video with Barbara Streisand. But To Live and Die in L.A., William Peterson, another great friend of mine. I miss Bill. Last I checked, he was living in Lake Como, Italy, raising his family. I know he comes to Chicago, but I haven't seen him for a long time. Big back in the day radio score head when I worked for the Score. And he did the movie Live and Die in L.A. And it might be, if you've ever seen Live and Die in L.A., one of the greatest chase scenes of all time. I mean, and a vicious movie, isn't it? It's a vicious movie.
Yeah.
It's a Chicago-made movie.
Friedkin did a lot of vicious stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yes, he did. You know what? And he grew up in a good family and stuff like that. His influences, it's crazy. Frederic.
Well, and Mike, he started vicious with the People versus Paul Crump, and that's kind of how he got started. He started in the mailroom at WGN, and then he did the People versus Paul Crump, which is kind of what put him on the map.
Yes, it did. It put him on the map. It got him noticed. The thing I liked about him, he didn't duck tough subjects. He did a vast array. I mean, The Exorcist is a horror movie. Live and Die in L.A. is a police thriller, chase scenes. The French Connection's a bioflick, really. It really actually happened. So he did more movies than that, but those are his 3 outstanding movies. And the coolest thing happened to me, Joe, is that I was downtown at Rosebud on Rush Street, which is across from the Peninsula, and I didn't know that he was staying at the Four Seasons, but I saw this guy over there, and I go, that guy looks familiar. And the bartender says, Mike, that's William Friedkin. And I had met Robert Conrad from Wild Wild West there. A lot of the stars stayed there. Goldie Hawn, I met. They would just cross the street to get something to eat. So I go over there and I go, Mr. Friedkin, Mike North, how are you? He goes, hey, how you doing? Like that. I go, I'm a radio talk show host in town. I have a sports radio show. Great station. Oh, really? I used to play ball here and stuff like that. I sports and stuff. I went to school here. I go, I know. I went to Sen. But it didn't really go like that. I said, would you like to do my radio show? And he said, I don't do radio. No. Well, I went to Sen. He goes, what time you want me?
Of course. The high school Chicago connection, man.
Chicago connection. Robert Conrad,
always.
Same thing. He went to Farragut High School. Kim Novak went to Farragut. I saw Robert Conrad. I go, hey, Mike North. He goes, how you doing, Mike? How you doing? I go, good. We're talking. So you went to high school here, huh? Yeah, it's my hometown. I go, me too. I went to Sen. Get out of here. And then the next thing you know, he called me, on the next day on the show. So that's how I met some of these guys. But William Friedkin, what a great guy, Joe. And I know that you have more to expand on with him too. Some of the stuff that, you brought up the French Connection. Now, if you are going to talk about his main movies, French Connection, Live and Die in L.A., or The Exorcist, which one?
It's a three. I think it's got, for me personally, it's between the French Connection and The Exorcist.
Yeah.
But he got off with a bang in his career, Mike, because French Connection was his first big movie, and right off the bat, he wins Best Picture and Best Director at the Oscars.
How do you go anywhere but down?
You can only go down. That's what I was just about to say.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, The Exorcist came out 2 years after that, and that was a huge hit for him too.
You know what's funny? It wasn't like William Friedkin was out there. You see others, Alfred Hitchcock. If he did Exorcist, Alfred Hitchcock would have been the star.
Well, it's so funny you bring up Alfred Hitchcock, Mike, because it's funny because Friedkin actually directed one of the last episodes of the Alfred Hitchcock Hour in 1965.
Whoa.
And famously, Hitchcock got after him because Friedkin did not wear a tie when he was directing.
Can you imagine? That was old school, man.
That's old school right there.
Alfred Hitchcock never won an Academy Award, folks. That's how much bias there was back then. North by Northwest. Check it out. Look it up, Joe. Alfred Hitchcock. Check out Academy Awards. Get on that typewriter of yours and go. And you'll see, I'm right. Not an Academy. He did The Birds. He did Psycho. He did. It had to be because they were horror pictures. He did Vertigo. Not one Academy Award. So,
he got nominated, but he never won.
Never. How does Alfred Hitchcock not win? Because people were jealous.
It's all the bias. He got nominated, Mike, for Rebecca, Lifeboat, Spellbound, Rear Window, and Psycho, and didn't win for any of them.
Didn't win for any of them, and could have been North by Northwest. He could have been nominated. Vertigo. He could have been nominated for. But you know what? That had to be something you never talk about. I know that William Friedkin, like you said, had nowhere to go but down.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He didn't go down. And then he ended up doing TV. And as sadly as it was, Joe, he died living good. He lived in Bel Air, California.
Yeah.
You grew up around, Western and Claremont,
Big difference.
Used to go to Wolfie's to eat hot dogs, you know what I mean?
Right.
Down the street from Greenbrier Park. And now you're living in Bel Air. So great first debut. Great time.
Absolutely.
Sherry Lansing, I want to welcome you to the show. I think for the first time you got your licks in, right? But it's not an easy show to do, right?
Hey, it's a lot of fun. And, Mike, like you said, there's hot and cold streaks, and, that we might have 3 or 4 in the next month. We might have, 5 over the next three months. Who knows?
Right.
But nonetheless, William Friedkin, visionary director, dead sadly at 87, but his movies will live on forever. Isn't that right, Mike?
You got it, buddy. Take care, everybody.
Yeah, take care, everyone, for the Barroom Network and for everyone here at Somebody Big Just Died and all our sponsors. We'll see you guys next time. Somebody Big Dies. See you next time.